Here are some tips and tricks that I used in my most recent piece where I drew my Pokemon character in one of the final cutscenes. Tracing is a great way to start a drawing, especially if you're a beginner artist. It's a great way to get your bearings of what the image is supposed to be or what you're going for. But it can be kind of tricky, especially if you are tracing from an anime reference, like a sort of face or something. Because you can get sort of the wrong proportions, and unless it's the style that you're going for, it doesn't really fit what's supposed to be happening. Just trying to copy an image from looking doesn't always work that well either, so something that I like to do is I like to block. I like to spot the shapes in the image and how they move, and then add shading and highlights. So that way I can see just about where everything is supposed to go. It's not going to be perfect, but it's a good start, especially when I'm referencing an image. When doing a sketch, guidelines are always something that are pretty important because they can show you where the rest of the image is supposed to flow. For example, when I was starting this drawing, I didn't really do the collar right, and I realized that it was because I wasn't looking at the proper middle of my character's torso. So I did have to draw a line down the center, and that really did help just about even everything out. And like I said, not everything's going to be perfect, so I did have to readjust their head, but it's a little bit easier during digital art. If you're doing this traditionally, good luck. During line art, confidence in your strokes is key. It's not always going to be perfect, so it is helpful to just clean up the lines just a little bit. Like I said, if you're doing traditional, good luck. I don't have the best time inking traditionally. I don't even do line art that often. I mostly just use a clean sketch, but the biggest thing about this drawing was perspective and value. I had to do a lot of work on the characters that were in the background, but because they were in the background, they didn't need as much details with the shading and coloring put on them as well as in the line art. So they do look a bit cartoony in the background, but that doesn't really matter that much. Once I got the line art done as best as I could, or as best as I wanted to, because I was getting pretty tired at this point, I moved on to coloring, and the paint bucket tool doesn't work that well on Krita from what I'm used to, so I have to color by hand because I love torturing myself.
Sir, are you saying your full name is P.P. Diarrheastein Poopy Pants Esquire?
Sir, are you saying your full name is P.P. Diarrheastein Poopy Pants Esquire?
Sir, are you saying your full name is P.P. Diarrheastein Poopy Pants Esquire? Sir, are you saying your full name is P.P. Diarrheastein Poopy Pants Esquire? Sir, are you saying your full name is P.P. Diarrheastein Poopy Pants Esquire? Sir, are you saying your full name is P.P. Diarrheastein Poopy Pants Esquire? Sir, are you saying your full name is P.P. Diarrheastein Poopy Pants Esquire? Sir, are you saying your full name is P.P. Diarrheastein Poopy Pants Esquire? Sir, are you saying your full name is P.P. Diarrheastein Poopy Pants Esquire?
The way that I render skin is pretty fun. I like to start off with the primary colors. I use a darker shade of the skin and then go with a more red hue. And then I kind of just color over the entire skin like that. And then I'll go in with a yellow and use it to bring out the highlights. It helps to layer the highlights so that you can get a more 3D sense. If 3D isn't your style, then you obviously don't have to do this. And then I go in with blue as a shading. And that way it's just like look how good it looks already. It just kind of gives the skin a more natural color rather than just be super flat, like the characters look in the background. Then you can either change the opacity, which is a lot easier, or you can darken the layer itself and then just kind of do whatever you want with it so that it looks pleasing to you. For the actual in-depth shading, I like to choose the darkest color on the skin and make it a little bit more darker. So it's pretty much just going to look however the skin was tinted. And then I just kind of blend it out, and then I do a little bit of highlighting, going with some brighter highlights. I kind of just do it like I do makeup with contour and highlight and whatnot. And then for really, really dark contrasting areas, I go in with a much darker shade, blend that out. And then something that I just kind of started doing just to I guess, experiment was I like to use a blue as a shading point in some very reflective areas. I also like to highlight a bit behind the nose and a bit above the cupid's brow. But here's me doing the blue in the super contrasting reflective areas of the skin because skin does reflect quite a bit. Meanwhile, with the background characters, because of the value and perspective, they don't need as much extensive highlighting and contrasting. I don't ever really do anything realistic for the eyes. I just kind of do it pretty anime style. Something that's important to do is to make sure that the whites of your eyes aren't actually white and that they're more of an off-white. But as far as coloring the irises go, I just kind of use 3 colors and blend them out a little bit. Coloring clothes isn't as crazy as coloring skin. You mostly just do darker shades in the darker areas, going with a super darker shade where there's going to be a lot of folds, and then just highlight here and there. Like I said, I like to make everything harder for myself, so of course I don't even know how to do clipping hair or anything. Different materials in clothes can have a different look when you shade and color and highlight them. For example, Nemona's little armband looks like it's maybe leather, so I don't blend it like that. Penny's stockings look a bit nylon, so I don't blend them much either. And then, of course, for Arven's jacket, it looks pretty reflective and like shiny. I don't color hair as realistically as I would prefer, but also this is pretty easy. I mostly just use a brush that has a bunch of different prongs on it, so that way I can get a bunch of lines while I only do 1 stroke. I go in with the same color as the hair just to give it texture, and then a darker shade, and then another darker shade, and then I go in with a little bit of a highlight. It's kind of cartoony, but it looks a bit realistic, which is pretty much the only thing that I'm going for. When you color and when you do line art, or just even when you draw in general, it's always the look that you are going for. You don't have to follow any of the tips and tricks that I use in this video. This is just how I personally like to do my art. So if you're looking to maybe try something out that's brand new with coloring or line art or anything, these are just some tips that I would pretty much recommend. It's nothing crazy. I've been doing art for a long time, so these are it's not going to be perfect, especially for me because I'm pretty young. I even went back and I changed a few things before I even did the final drawing, but I couldn't record the background. I guess I didn't have enough space. A reminder that I do have my commissions open, and I will have my link in bio.